Russia did not lose its identity, and that is why it's winning. That's what we're going to talk about today as we walk around this gloomy, miserable, almost English weather type afternoon in October in Vladimir. This is a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a while. I've touched on a few times, and I think it's important to really talk about the difference between Russia and other countries and why Russia is winning. And that's because Russia has not lost its identity at all. And so people are willing to do anything to defend it. And when you're willing to do anything to defend the country you love, then your country has a great chance of winning. So today I've got the tissue in my hand because as we walk around every minute or so, I need to clean the lens. It's one of those days where it's raining, but you can't really feel it's raining, but you notice it's raining if you wear glasses or if you've got a camera. It kind of reminds me of England. In England, perhaps it'd be a little bit more windy and the rain would just get everywhere, down your clothes, down your neck, and just inside all your coat and everything. Because that type of weather, you know, you can't notice the rain, but it's there. And if you go for a long enough walk, you still get soaked. But we're here in the tourist area, and as you can see, this is a very Russian style area. If you watch my channel, then you've seen I've walked around this area a lot of times, and this is so key to the Russian identity. Vladimir is part of a circle of towns, a ring of towns, actually called the Golden Ring, and it's said to be a trade route between different cities. And Vladimir is always thought of as like a village town. Basically, it's a town, of course, right? Let's not get mixed up. The population is 300,000. However, it's known as a kind of village town. And these are the old buildings in the Russian village town. I feel that national identity is so key to a country remaining, well, I guess allowing its citizens to have a kind of path to follow and a road to go down. And when other people come to the country as well, if the country has a really strong identity, then those who come to the country can also learn and follow the identity of the country. So I'd say that Russians are nationalists. I wouldn't say that in the way that they're nationalists where they don't care about other countries, but I'd say that they're nationalists in the fact that they know who they are, they know their identity, and they put Russia first. That is such a refreshing thing in this day and age. But because Russia has its own exact identity, it doesn't matter if the person from Russia is a pro-Putin supporter or an anti-Putin and a pro, I don't know, KPRF. That doesn't make any difference. Every Russian is proud to be Russian. And so when you have a nation of people that are proud to be Russian, they're not going to let other people come and change your country. And I'm spitting when I'm talking, sorry about that. But I retook this video about 10 times because what I wanted to say was, look, me as a YouTuber, I've been quite outspoken about sometimes how difficult it can be in this provincial town where I live to be a YouTuber. I go around and I get people commenting, saying things, turn your camera off, stuff like that. Now, from a YouTuber's point of view, sometimes that can be very frustrating. However, that is actually a really, really good thing. And it shows how proud Russia are of Russia, and it shows that they're willing to do everything to defend it. I think that is absolutely incredible. So when I go somewhere, it can be frustrating for me that I try and film something and someone's against it, or they tell me to turn the camera off, or they're worried about what I'm filming, or worried about what I might be reporting on, or try to make Russia look a certain way. But that's great, isn't it? It's great to have people like that that care so much about their country, that they're concerned about every little thing, right down to a foreign man walking along with a camera. Imagine having a country where all the people were that concerned about the welfare of their country that they would report somebody making a video in the city centre. That's pretty incredible, right? And that is one of the reasons I absolutely love Russia. Absolutely love it, because Russia has its own identity, its own idea of how it wants to be, and it doesn't want to stop other people from you see that, just a random kid doing some random stuff. It doesn't want to stop other people from ruining that and changing that, or possibly doing something that can have a negative effect on it. And that is incredible. Miserable day, really is. But actually it feels very much like England, so I feel at home in Russia and at home because it feels like in England too. So there you go, double win-win for Sam today. When you walk down this street, what you see is Russia. We don't see the different nationalities. Now, in different regions, we obviously have different kind of, I guess, nationalities within Russia, we should call it that. And then also places with completely different religions, like Kazan or like Dagestan, Chechnya, of course. These places are more traditionally Islamic. But here in Vladimir, it's very kind of Russian, Orthodox Russian. When you walk down here through these streets, you can see that Russia's got an identity, a real identity. Obviously in different regions, we've got different languages within Russia, different religions, but it's all Russia. And everybody here, despite being multicultural in the fact that different regions, different traditions, different languages, it's all Russia. And that's why Russia is able to win, because people are willing to defend Russia, because Russia has all these different aspects and different types of people, but they all have one national pride, and that is Russia. And that's what differentiates Russia from so many other countries around the world. I miss these summer cafes when it's no longer summer, and these areas here just, well, just empty now, aren't they? But still nice to walk down these passages. Look at the cat graffiti on the wall up there, look. I know the owner of this car. I might have to pop into her shop, in fact, now, and surprise her and get her on camera, because she'd get loads of views for the video. Loads and loads of views for the video, in fact. Our Golden Gate has been covered up for about 1.5 years, I think now. I really can't wait to see what it looks like when it's done. Or are we not going to be able to see any difference at all? Is it just going to be the same as it was? Perhaps they're doing something structurally to it, but I'm hoping it's going to be even more beautiful than it was. So when you walk around Russia, you see Russian arts. You see, like the theatre behind me there. Now, of course, you see the theatres in every country in the world. I get that. But the thing is that all Russian people support the Russian theatre. They have this connection to it. It's the same with Russian restaurants. You're going to have Russian restaurants everywhere. In our town, I'd say 80% of the restaurants sell Russian food, Russian traditional foods. Perhaps they sell a European kind of selection of foods, but within that there's going to be Russian foods. There's going to be Russian soups. There's going to be traditional Russian dumplings, things like that. They're going to be sold at pretty much every restaurant. And it's because Russia has this exact culture, and people that come here, they learn the culture as well. Of course, just like anywhere in the world, we have our events, but we have specific foods and specific dress and things like that for our events. Now, of course, you guys do in your country as well, but the entire country supports those events, gets behind them, learns about them in school. There's no kind of like, well, we should learn and celebrate traditions of other cultures. Of course, there's nothing wrong with celebrating traditions of other cultures, but there's no way that those traditions are going to come before the Russian traditions. An example of something that's becoming more and more popular is Halloween. I've noticed every year we have Halloween toys and things like that in the shops because you have movies like Harry Potter and things like that. Although in Russian, Harry Potter is not Harry Potter, it's Gary Potter. Interesting, right? And so when you have this national identity, it's easier to protect and easier to defend. Like you can see, this square, there's no litter. People are not like, I don't care, they're coming to the main square, you know, and putting graffiti everywhere. No, that doesn't happen. Why? Because of the respect. When you have a people that all believe in kind of one goal, in one culture, and everyone's kind of follows along with it, even though you have many different types of people living within Russia, people then want to defend that culture and that way of life. And so when we have situations where Russians are being persecuted, everyone gets behind the protection of those people who are being persecuted. Why? Because they're Russian. Doesn't matter what political party you follow, what your gender is or anything like that. You're Russian, you care about Russia. And so therefore you support Russia's interests. And that's why Russia is so different to so many other countries around the world, where you're almost convinced that your culture isn't the right one. Even kind of like persuaded to acknowledge that you shouldn't really celebrate your culture and customs because it might offend others. Russia takes this completely different. Of course, they don't want to offend other people, but if you're coming to Russia, then you should get involved in Russia's goals, in Russia's traditions, in Russia's customs. It's completely different here. And that's why people are willing to defend Russia to the death. And that's why Russia's identity and culture remains when so many other countries' cultures disappear. One of the other things that's vitally important and that everybody gets behind is embracing the past and the achievements. You can see when you walk around the city centre, we've got signage like this behind me, and this is celebrating heroes of the Second World War. And this is a constant reminder to Russians of the sacrifice that their grandparents and their great-grandparents gave to fight fascism and to enable Russia to be the country it is today. I think in the West we forget this. Perhaps in the West not so many people died, and so it's easier to kind of let this go. And I think as time goes by, we're forgetting more and more about the sacrifices people made. Russia embraces its history, and it doesn't matter if it's good or bad history. If they find out 100 years later that the person that did something was a tyrant or was a racist or whatever, Russia celebrates its past, and that's something that the West should really look to and think, well, we should be doing that too. And in fact, I think a lot of people feel that way. Do you like autumn? Look at these autumn leaves. It's weird for me because my birthday is in the first few days of October. I'm not going to tell you when it is, just because, I don't know, you probably try and hack my account or something, even though, no, I'm just joking. Okay, I'll tell you. It's the 8th of October. So kind of, yeah, autumn has a special feeling for me. I remember Guy Fawkes and bonfire nights. I don't know how well celebrated they are now, but in childhood, every year at the school we would have bonfire night and eat the toffee apples. I can't eat those toffee apples anymore. They would just completely break my teeth. In Russia, some of the most famous and most popular songs are patriotic songs. It's interesting that Everyone knows the words. When the song comes on at a nightclub or something like that, or a football match or whatever it is, everyone is filled with patriotism. It's like I don't know, it's like a euphoria, right? The whole sea of everybody singing along and feeling proud to be Russian. So these are some of the things some of the reasons that Russians identify with their culture and are willing to do everything to protect it. And I think it's something that the West should learn from, because if they don't, then they're going to lose it altogether, and that's going to be a real shame. You know, I'm not one of these people that's like, ha ha, Russia, look at Russia, look, Russia's so much better than the West. I don't want to feel like that. I didn't come to Russia because, you know, the West was really bad. I came to Russia just because I liked Russia, and I don't get any joy in seeing the state of Western Europe and Australia and the US as to how it's going there. I really want that they kind of, you know, there's a fine line, isn't there, between, I guess, welcoming and wanting other people to come to your country who are going to respect you and your country, and you know, you want to help other people out 100%. If I was from a country where everything was bad, you'd want to move to a country where everything is good, right? 100%. However, those people that are coming to your country need to respect the country they're moving to. I'm yet to see any foreigner that has come here and treats it as if, you know, Russia owes them something. I'm yet to see that happen. Hopefully it won't.